what do we as online business owners need to know about in terms of AI? What would this look like if it were easy to accomplish whatever it is that you wanted to do? You put the work in upfront and then you get benefits ongoing. How can we be leveraging AI? What can be a really massive process down to how do I get clients? Like, where do they come from?
Welcome to the Fuel Your Flow podcast. I am your host, Valerie Feghali, physical therapist turned software CEO and business coach for health and wellness coaches. We are going to be talking about all things health and business. They might be more closely related than you think. So let's go ahead and get into it. Today, we have a high-impact interview with tips that you can implement right away to make your business so much more efficient. I think we can all admit that AI is here to stay, and the truth is that if we don't embrace it, we are going to get left behind. Now, let me be clear. I am a big advocate for personal connection, community, and relationship building, and AI cannot replace this. But what it can do to make your business more efficient, more effective, and have you be a less stressed out business owner is phenomenal. Today, I'm bringing on Rick Mulready, a longtime entrepreneur who has run multi-seven-figure online businesses for over a decade, helping other online businesses grow and scale while working fewer hours. Rick is now an AI strategist and founder of the AI Playbook community, which I am a happy member of. In this community, he teaches online entrepreneurs how to leverage AI to streamline your business and increase your profits. He also has a popular YouTube channel on this topic. Rick has founded and over 12 million downloads sold the Art of Online Business podcast. So he is the real deal. So without further ado, let's welcome on Rick. Rick, welcome so much to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited about this chat.
I was first introduced to you when you spoke at a mastermind, and I don't think I gave anyone else the chance to talk. I hogged the mic the whole time because I felt like I needed to absorb everything you were saying. I was hooked right away because I think AI can do so much for wellness businesses that they don't realize that it can do.
Yeah.
So, of course, I wanted to have you on and just help everybody understand, where does it fit in with their business and how can they use this to really streamline their business, make it more efficient, and then also make them a better coach. So, before we dive in, before we really get into the nuances, and we're going to go a little deeper than maybe some of people listening are used to, but can you just tell us about your journey from hosting a wildly successful podcast and a coaching business to now leading an incredible community based on AI?
Yeah, so I've worked with online businesses now for coming up on 12 years, started in January of 2014. So I know the online business world really, really well, inside and out. Started out with Facebook ads, teaching Facebook ads, 2014, did that for years, then expanded beyond just Facebook ads, moving into just overall online business coaching, and then just kind of burned out, honestly. Yeah, I did have my podcast. I started podcasting in 2013. The first podcast, I did like 52 episodes, and then I started the other one in 2015, and I sold that in 2023 when I made the shift over to AI. I just really saw the opportunity. I remember in January 2023, ChatGPT had just been out publicly for like a month and a half or a month at that point. Mm-hmm. And I remember being on a call for the mastermind that I was running at the time. And somebody was talking about ChatGPT, and we as online business owners, like squirrel, keeping focus is a hard thing to do. There's so many different directions, especially with AI. But I remember somebody saying I was using ChatGPT to do this one thing and it's kind of cool. And people started to glob onto that, if you will. And I remember saying to them, look, you all, this is a shiny object. Let's stay focused on this. And then probably 2 weeks later, I was having a hard time coming up with podcast titles for my show. So I was like, I'll try this ChatGPT thing out. And it blew my mind, And this is almost 3 years ago. It's always funny when I think back on that. I was like, this is a shiny object right now. It is not a shiny object. We as online business owners have to be embracing AI at this point. It's pretty much a non-negotiable. Now, what that doesn't mean is to replace the human side and the human aspects of business. I think that a lot of people think like when, oh, I should implement AI into the business, or I keep hearing that I should do it, they automatically go to, well, it's going to like dehumanize my business, and especially, especially in the health coaching space. It's like, I don't want to lose that human element to it. Well, that's not what, at least for me, like that's not what I teach, not what I preach also. It's like, where can AI help you in the business? Either make things easier for you, make things faster for you. Where can it add extra value for your clients? Where can it help you, with the main struggles of the business? And 3 years later, almost 3 years later of when ChatGPT came out, I mean, it's just obviously exploded, and there's so many different things that you can do with it.
It's funny how we think of things as being a trend until they're not,
Right.
no longer a trend.
Yeah.
And I like what you talked about of that AI does not dehumanize your business. And what I have found in my business personally, it actually has opened up a lot of time for me to connect with my members, with other health and wellness coaches, for me to do free workshops. I've gotten a lot more face time with my community because AI is doing a lot of the back end work that really doesn't have anything to do with what the customer is experiencing. It's more the admin stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Again, a lot of people don't think of it that way. Like they think it's just like going to replace them or replace somebody on, if they have a team, like it's not always the case. The idea is for AI to be sort of your partner, if you will. And exactly like you're talking about it is, how can I leverage it to free up time to do higher leverage activities or things that I really want to be doing in the business, like connecting with your members and clients on a more consistent basis. And AI can allow that, can help make that easier.
Yeah. So speaking of kind of the zone of genius, right? And what this means is that your zone of genius is what you want to be doing, what you're good at in your business and what you want to be doing. And so can you talk to us a little bit about how coaches can use AI to really start focusing on their zone of genius? And what are some examples of things that AI could take off their plate?
The biggest thing is, and no one likes this exercise, it's like, what is my zone of genius, number one, and then what are all the things that keep me from being able to spend time in my zone of genius?
Yep.
And so, and I would just start literally listing those things out. And the first thing you want to be looking at is like, all right, what are those repetitive things that you do either every day, every week? I would start there. I would say every month, but a little bit further down the priority list. But what are those things that you're doing on a repetitive basis that are time consuming, that maybe you don't enjoy doing, that are just sucking your energy, that are keeping you from that zone of genius? So maybe it's something simple like email inbox or something like that. Okay, AI can totally help with that.
How? Tell us how.
Basically processing that email. Or the emails. So there's a lot of different ways. Like the most basic way to do this is, number one, I would start by creating like a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet or something with the frequently asked questions that you get.
Okay.
Like what is your pricing, or what do your offers look like, or how, I'm not sure that you can help me. Can you specifically, speak, here's my situation. Can you specifically, speak to how you might be able to help? That's a perfect example that you would want to be, as the business owner and in your zone of genius, you'd want to be flagged that question is being asked, because that is not an AI. I don't think that's an AI opportunity. That's an opportunity for you to get in there and hear and read what the user or the person emailing is explaining.
Okay.
And then respond. But the simplest way is get that FAQ document. Again, Google Sheet, doesn't matter what it is. And you can give that to, say, ChatGPT, for example. And whenever you get an email, again, this is like bare bones basic.
Yep.
But whenever you get an email and you're like, oh, I just want to respond to this really quickly, but I don't want to have to take the brain power to do it, just copy and paste that question into ChatGPT because it has your FAQ document, and just say, here's the question. You can create like we'll keep this super basic. We're not even creating a GPT or anything like that.
Okay.
Attach the FAQ document to ChatGPT, then copy paste the question that just came in via email and say, please answer this based on my FAQ document. And it'll write a response for you. Mm-hmm. You can also teach it your tone of voice, your writing style, that sort of thing, because people are always like, oh, AI isn't going to sound like me. You can totally teach it to sound like you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't mean that in a way of like being, kind of like, I don't know, smarmy, I guess is the right, I don't mean that. It's, if AI is going to write something for you, whether it's an email, whether it's a piece of content, or you want it to sound like you.
Right. You want it to
never,
be cohesive.
Yeah, exactly. But it's never just copy paste out of AI.
Got it.
AI can generate something for you, but then you go in and edit and, add your own flavor and flair to it, however you want to do that, and then send it. That's like most basic, because then you can get into like agents and workflows and stuff that can do all this automatically for you.
Okay. So would you say, when somebody's kind of making that list of their zone of genius, right? And then they're making their separate list of all the tasks that they have to do throughout the day. Yep. And I know that this takes time, and people, it's not like you can just do this all in one day, because we don't even realize some of these things that are sucking up so much of our time. We don't even realize that we're doing on a daily basis. And so first of all, how long would you recommend people kind of take this, like, what we call it a time audit, essentially? How long would you say people should do that for?
I like to say minimum 5 days.
Okay.
5 like normal business days. Okay. So not like if you're at a conference or something like that, like 5 normal business days where you're like, okay, if you can start on a Monday, great. If you can't, that's okay. But just like try to get 5 days.
Okay.
If it's more, like great, but it's a pain in the butt exercise to do.
But very doable.
Totally. Yeah. And there's no, like, just keep a notebook on your desk or if you want to keep a notepad on your laptop or on your phone, whatever it is, like just jot down what it is that you're doing. And then like, how long did it take you to do it? Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, I checked emails for 45 minutes this morning. I wrote up my coaching notes from, 3 calls I had today. Mm-hmm. And that took me 2.5 hours, like, amazing. That's a perfect opportunity where AI can completely help you super easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So then they have that list. So how would you then prioritize the things that AI can help them with on that list? Are we looking for the most time consuming? Are we looking for the most repetitive, or both? Or how are we prioritizing that list?
I would say start with repetitive, because if you have sort of like a one-off thing where maybe you're like preparing for a presentation or something like that, that's maybe not normal. That's not something that you normally do week in and week out. So I would say, what are the things that are repetitive in your, day to day or week to week? Start with those things. And then once you have the list of those things, then you prioritize that list and say, what's taking me the longest out of these things? And so that's the next priority. Then the next thing is like, and this is very common, this has nothing to do with AI, but it's like, does this thing even need to be done? Like, should I even be doing this?
Yeah. Okay.
And if you can answer yes to that, I would say, okay, start with that. You prioritize 2 different things, and let's just say, okay, I have 5 things here. And of those 5 things, yes, they all need to be done in the business because they're important. Great. Start with number 1. And then from there, it's kind of like the dreaded SOP, basically. Yeah. Like, what are the steps that go into it? Mm-hmm. So, for example, going back to the email inbox, we may not think about it, but there's a process in our head. If we don't have it written down, there's a process in our head for how we go through our email inbox, right? So like, we're looking for specific types of emails, and when we get whatever, this type of email, this is the type of response that it normally gets. Great. All that should really ideally be documented So much easier to then hand it over to AI, if you will, to do those things once you have the process down or the steps down that it takes to accomplish that.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about GPTs, because I think that our listeners can get a lot of use out of them. Now, I do want to give a real life example so that our listeners can understand how this works. So for example, I was just on a coaching call with my membership mastery group. This is a group of currently women who I lead to build their own membership programs. And one of the women in the group was asking how she can, because she's having something done, she's not going to be as available as usual for the next couple of months. So she was saying, how can I keep engagement going in my membership and keep it just as valuable in regards to content while I am not as present? And so I was telling her, well, you typically get on these calls. She does 2 monthly calls where she does these Q&A. She answers all the questions that the membership has collected over the 2 weeks. And then she answers those questions, gets feedback. It's a live, back and forth conversation. So what I was saying is that, maybe what you can do instead of just having that is do a pre-recorded session where you're answering all these questions, right, that people are submitting, and then use a GPT to synthesize that information, take away 6 key points from your conversation or your pre-recorded video, along with 3 particular action steps that you want your community to take this week in order to get a particular result, right? Yeah. And so it's more action-based than it is just information, right?
Right. Yep.
And so we're using a GPT to do that. It's saving her so much time. She's just taking the transcript from her pre-recorded call, putting it into a GPT that she already created that's going to spit out this document that's very action-based for her members.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, I just wanted to give that example so that people listening understand what it can be used for. Now, can you tell us what a GPT is, for one, and then how we kind of set it up and why we would use it?
Absolutely. I'm smiling because see, my brain is going to, how can she automate that? How can she make that like a complete workflow?
Yes.
So I'm just curious, do you know what tool that she uses to record the calls?
I don't know.
And then do you know what her platform is on?
I believe it's on Go High Level.
Oh, okay.
Community.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, that could, depending on what the tool that she's using to record the calls, that could probably be an entire automated workflow. But anyway.
And so that would be agents, right? Now we're talking about more AI agents for the workflows.
Yeah, that would be, yeah, I mean, people define agents differently and we use it sort of interchangeably, but in essence, yeah, that's just a workflow. So any kind of AI workflow has a trigger, meaning like, what is the thing that happens that wakes up the workflow?
Okay.
In her case, it would be a new coaching call. So, hey, we have a new recording of a coaching call. That's the trigger. And then again, depending on what she's using, an AI model can take the transcript and do all the things that you just mentioned that you recommended she do, which I think is super smart, and then like post it directly to Go High in the community and Go High Level.
Incredible. Okay, so let's start first with
GPTs.
People who maybe aren't using AI as much with the GPTs, and then I do want to get the full workflow or how an agent can help with this task.
So a GPT is essentially a chatbot that you can create yourself in ChatGPT. Now, you do need to be paying for ChatGPT in order to create a GPT. So the $20 a month plan. So that's number one. Number two is what you're basically teaching it to do a single task. So when I give you a transcript and you're giving it instructions for what you want it to do. So it's like, when I give you a transcript of a coaching call, I want you to extract 3 to 5 action items that people can do over the next 7 days. I'm just making this up.
Yep.
Cool. So you just go in. The brilliant thing about GPTs is that for repetitive tasks, meaning like this, like where we do calls, let's just say every 2 weeks, amazing. So you create it once, and then you don't have to keep going back into ChatGPT and have a chat and retell it what you want it to do. You just open up the GPT
Yep.
and say, here's my new transcript, and give it to the GPT, and then it will spit out essentially what you've asked it to spit out.
Amazing. So the difference is that you're not retraining it. You're not asking it every time for the output. You've already trained it on the output.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, a key thing to remember about GPTs, though, is that it's not going to, so let's just say I do it today with a coaching call transcript. I get the results. Amazing. I take them, put them into my community. 2 weeks from now, when I have another coaching call, that GPT is not going to have any memory of that of today's interaction.
Previous. Okay.
It's like starting fresh every time.
Not on the prompt and not on the output, but on the memory of what you imported. So like just the last transcript that you imported.
Yes, exactly. So for example, what you might want to do, and you wouldn't be able to do this with a GPT unless you keep adding the transcripts as what they call knowledge files.
Okay.
As opposed to like just attaching the transcript.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because ideally what we want is like, all right, I'm going to give it the transcript today, extract the action items, and then 2 weeks from now, well, we don't necessarily, what if in the next call, there's similar action items? Well, we don't necessarily want to repost the same action items. Ideally, we want, the AI to recognize like, hey, we got these action items last time, and we want to make sure that there's new action items. Okay. So just attaching the transcript to the GPT isn't going to allow that.
Right. Okay.
But
do that.
Yeah. You can attach, like, again, as knowledge files, if you will. You can keep attaching the transcripts, and you can add to your instructions, like, please make sure that, we are not duplicating any kind of action items.
Okay. So just for people who are listening, what you mean, Rick, is that you can go back, you would have to edit the GPT and then attach it as a memory, like as a knowledge file. So it wouldn't just be that you're communicating back and forth with the GPT. You actually have to go in and edit it and then attach that.
Yep.
And then just also for people listening, because some people might be like, this is too much work, I'm out. How much time, like for a simple GPT like this, does it take to create?
I mean, the hardest part of that is honestly figuring out what it is that you want it to do. Like the actual creation part is really, really easy. Meaning you click on create GPT, there's, the GPT section, and then you click on create GPT, and then there's two ways to do it. There's like a beginner way to do it, which this is the way that I would recommend doing it, and then a bit more advanced. In the beginner way, you just explain what you want it to do, and then it will write the instructions for you.
Amazing.
So that's what I mean is like the hardest part, if you will, is like, what exactly do I want to do? Well, what do I want this GPT to do?
Yep. So it's just coming up with the framework.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you want to test it, right? So like as it's writing the instructions, give it the transcript, give a test transcript, take an old one and test it out. And you're like, oh, this is really good. Save it. Then when you save it, it'll give you some different options on who you want to give access to for that GPT. If you're just using it internally, there's an only me quote option. Just select that. It's going to give you a URL. So then just favorite that URL in your browser or bookmark it or what have you, so that you don't have to go into ChatGPT every time you want to use it. You just click the link and then it opens up your GPT.
Okay. Yeah. So for some of the the simple GPTs that I've created, it's taken me no more than 5 to 10 minutes. So just that perspective. Yeah. Like this is not like you're going to be spending a ton of time on the back end creating these things. It's very quick.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So now can you tell us how you would do this more as a workflow or using an agent?
So first of all, I'm always asking myself, and I've asked myself, basically from day one of the business almost 12 years ago, it's like, what would this look like? I know you've heard this, Valerie. Like, what would this look like if it were easy? to accomplish whatever it is that you want it to do. And I look at the GPT part as like, whoa, that's a lot of steps for me. I have to like manually do that, right? Like we're at this age where this time in our business where we can actually say that, right? It's just like, oh, all the capabilities out there. What do you mean I have to like go manually put this transcript in there?
We're building lazy entrepreneurs.
Exactly. And lazy isn't a bad thing because the way that I look at it is like, the lazier you are means you're looking for better, smarter ways to accomplish things so that free up the time for our zone of genius. That's the way I kind of look at it.
Yes, I love that.
So what I would do with this is I would say, okay, there's so many different ways to do this. I'm trying to think of, so ideally, I want to be able to record the call, have it automatically transcribing as it goes. Then when the call finishes, that's the trigger, if you will. It's like, okay, it wakes up a workflow that we create. Okay. So the next step is, and a lot of tools like Fathom or Granola, just like these call recording tools, Fireflies, they will extract action items themselves from these, but I wouldn't want sort of the pre-done ones from within the tools, if that makes sense.
Right.
I want an AI model to look at the whole transcript and then figure those things out. So pick a tool, then the next point in our workflow is we want AI to read the transcript and extract 3 to 5 action items. Okay. Ideally, we want to point, before we post it in our community, we want ideally somebody to look at those. So like have it sent to you via Slack. Okay. It could send you those 3 to 5 bullet points via Slack for you to approve. So you either approve it or you edit it. Yep. And then the next step would be automatically posting to Go High Level in this case here.
Okay. So as far as linking up, this would mean that you'd have to link up multiple different tools. Yep. Let's say somebody is recording on Zoom. Do they also need a note taker, or can they take the transcript directly from Zoom?
Yes, but oddly, Zoom does not play nicely with AI automation. Okay. Good to know. I don't understand why. But yes, if you are like whatever plan it is for Zoom, it is transcribing the call for sure. Okay. But to get that transcript, and I've tried this many times, and I feel like I fairly know what I'm doing. It is not easy for some reason to get the transcript out of Zoom and to be able to do something with it. Okay. So let's say then we have to get a different tool. Let's say we're using Firefly. Right, to deduct our transcript from our call. So now we link up Firefly with what? What workflow AI are you using? I would use the easiest one that I found is Relay.app. Okay, Relay.app. The cool thing is a lot of these AI workflow tools have AI assistance. So like when you go in and you want to create a new workflow, again, the hardest part about a lot of these things is that, and it sounds funny, right? But like the hardest part is being able to describe what we want to do. Okay. And so the reason I say that is because I can go into Relay, I can tell it what I want to do. So I can say, I want to take a new transcript, a new call recording transcript from Fireflies, have an AI model analyze the transcript, extract, 5 action items. Then I want to review those action items via Slack. And then once approved, post them in my community in Go High Level. I don't believe, unfortunately, in this one here, that Go High Level is available in Relay, but there's more technical workarounds to that. Got it. But that's where the thing is like somebody can use Zapier also to do this. Zapier has the same type of AI assistant where it's like, you're just explaining what you want it to do, and then it will build the workflow for you.
Okay.
Which is really
pretty
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. And makes it a lot easier.
I think when people are listening, they might be like, oh my gosh, right? It's like, it is a lot of linking this, link with that. It sounds very technical, but when you think about the amount of not just time, I mean, yes, this is saving you time, but brain power that this is saving you. And I think that's the piece that I've realized so much. And people will say like, oh, it decreases our critical thinking and erodes our whatever. But if we're then using our time to do critical thinking, to do things that are more interactive, and we're not doing these kind of like things that we have on autopilot where every week we go down, we look at the transcript and we read it and we extract the, manually doing all of this and uploading it into our account, like that in and of itself doesn't take a lot of critical thinking, right?
Exactly.
And so so when we're giving it to AI, it's not like we're stopping our creativity in any way.
Right.
Yes, certain uses of it, that would be the case. But I think for most of us who are really wanting to run a successful business where we are building connection and building that real human interaction, it's not going to erode our brains, right?
Yeah. I look at that. Sorry to interrupt. I look at that as like, it's almost like passive income, if you will. Passive income, does it really exist? That's a whole other topic. But like, you put the work in up front and then you get benefits ongoing. It's the same thing when whether you created a simple GPT or take time to create a workflow like this. Yeah, it's going to take some time depending on what it is, right? But like the workflow that we just talked about, okay, maybe that takes you, just call it a couple hours. And it's some frustration, maybe, Relay is very, very easy to use. It's literally built for non-technical people.
Love that.
And like, legitimately, it is like, that's the whole goal of it. But let's just say it takes you 2 hours, maybe a little frustration trying to figure this out. But like, once you dial it in, like, think about the ongoing time savings that it's giving you. And like you just mentioned, like frees up that brain power of like, oh, I don't have to go do this manually. Yeah. And yeah, like extracting action items from a transcript is not a high brain power activity.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So can you give us, I'd love to know some other examples. So a lot of our coaches and practitioners struggle with bringing on new clients. Can you give us some examples, whether it be to help with ads or help with social content that attracts? Like, what are some examples of ways that coaches could use AI to attract new clients?
So, yeah, and this is something that I'm actually going through myself right now. And because I don't know why, but I just had this sort of aha like recently this week that I'm like, why aren't I doing more of what I teach in terms of content repurposing, right? So I put out a YouTube video every week.
Yeah.
I write a newsletter every week that's very long. It's just like, when you have some form of content that you put out on a regular basis, AI is just that force multiplier in that. Like, you can just amplify that content, meaning I can take this one piece of content and turn it into whatever. Like, I can turn it into 15 pieces of content really, really easily in a matter of minutes. Like, we're talking about something that maybe took like, oh, I have to create content for 7 days. Like, that can take you, 45 minutes now. So I would look at number one is like, how do I get clients? Like, where do they come from?
Yep.
Then let's just say like, oh, well, I'm an online business and I want to be attracting, my main marketing channel is social media or YouTube or whatever it might be. Cool. I want to create content where my audience is. And so let's just say that we don't have a YouTube channel right now, but yet want to start a YouTube channel because I know my audience is on YouTube and they're Googling or asking ChatGPT questions about that I can answer. Okay, amazing. You can leverage AI to get ideas for what type of channel, the angle of the channel. You can have it create, artwork and thumbnails and write scripts for you and all this type of stuff.
Yep.
and cut that, what can be a really massive process down to really bite-sized manageable things to do to be able to do that. Same thing for a podcast. It can do all that stuff, help you prepare for it. Let's just say you already do something like that. You're already putting out content in some way. You can use ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, these other models, to create multiple forms of content, again, from that main piece of content. And you want to be creating content for and this sounds obvious, right? But like, don't create LinkedIn content if your audience is not on LinkedIn.
Right.
Like if you're like, oh, my audience is on TikTok and Instagram.
Yep.
Amazing. Like repurpose it into, 30-second TikTok scripts that you can then use to record, and also Instagram posts. You can take the scripts that you record for TikTok and use them as reels. Like you can, what does this look like if it were easy? Because I'm already producing content. How can I leverage and repurpose that?
I love that. And again, to give a real world example of that. So I started this podcast not long ago, a few months ago. And when I started, I've been hemming and hawing about it for years. And it's just another thing to do. It's a lot of work, right? And I kept having this thing in my head, which actually is not true. And I come to find out that me doing one 45-minute podcast has now turned into a newsletter for the week, 6 social media posts, 6 YouTube shorts, a full-length YouTube video, and then also many times our guests will also share it with their audience in their ways. And so again, these high leverage activities, right? So before I was using AI, I was doing so much manual work that I did not feel like I had the time to sit on a 45-minute interview. But now using AI to take so much work off my plate, I get to have this conversation with Rick, which first of all, I love doing. This is my zone of genius. I love doing this. And now I get to use this one piece of content to create 10, 15, 20 other pieces of content.
Yeah.
And so much of that is...
You can use AI to write show notes.
Exactly.
You can have
and we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It really doesn't take that much work on the back end, aside from, finding the client, talking to our guests and getting them to sign up and book with us. But aside from that, the actual... my editor does do a lot of work. I want to give him credit, but to actually get the show notes done, the newsletter from it, the shorts done, it doesn't take a lot of extra manpower.
What do you use to do the shorts? I'm just curious.
We're on frame.io.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly, it's my editor that helps with those clips. I don't know his exact process.
So he's making the clips. You're not using gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yes, but also we're on Riverside right now. Riverside automatically generates, after this call, will generate 6 to 8 shorts for me with captions, right? So I could just as easily go in and use those. I like my editor to do it because, again, it adds that human element.
Sure.
He knows exactly what I'm looking for, exactly what I want. And then I go in and I approve them. But I could just take the clips right from Riverside.
Totally. Yeah. So again, it's that's a perfect example of all right, I'm looking for a tool that I can use to record podcast episodes. And it's what tool is going to allow me to do as much as possible with the content I'm, recording.
Right.
And this is not endorsement for Riverside, but Riverside, perfect example. It's I can record video. I have the audio. It has built in, short form video creator. That saves you so much time to do that.
Right. And even somebody who maybe isn't doing guest interviews but wants to start a podcast, you can come on, do a solo podcast, you just talking. You've got your social media for the week. You've got your transcript already written out. You've got your show notes that Riverside can deduct for you. It can be a very light load.
Yeah. And I don't know if you were meaning this as turn your video on and record that way, even if it's you solo.
Yeah.
It feels weird at first. When I first did that several years ago, it was super weird to do that. But then again, you have all that content. You've got short form vertical content. You can turn that into YouTube.
Absolutely.
videos. So like, yeah, there's so many different options there.
So many. So Rick, tell us a little bit about your community, because I'm a part of your AI playbook and I love it. And it's been, game changer for me in terms of how to make more revenue off of the time that we have to spend in our business. And so can you tell us a little bit about your community?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. The whole reason I started it, so I started it in April of 2024. The whole reason I started it was because nobody was filtering. There's so much AI news and so many AI tools, but nobody was filtering it for online businesses. And so, because that's my background and that's what I've, worked, and I have my own, that's why I started it. I wanted to be the filter, if you will, for online business owners when it comes to what do we as online business owners need to know about in terms of AI. Because again, there's so much noise and it's so easy to go down rabbit holes. And so that's the first thing is like, how can we be leveraging AI to everything we're talking about here today? So like, it's very use case heavy, because what I hear time and time again from people is like, I don't know what I don't know until they hear somebody else talking about, oh, I used AI to do X, Y, and Z. And the whole goal is like when they share that, or when I share it, or whomever, somebody else to say, oh, I hadn't even thought about that. That's so cool. I'm going to do that in my business, obviously customizing it for their business. But yeah, we have almost 500 people in there. Right now we have a ton of AI trainings. We're sharing prompts all the time. There's 65, almost 70 done for you AI workflows and agents and so forth. And where all you have to do is just put in your information, like your audience, like describe your audience and your business. And it will, give you an entire, webinar outline. Or it'll write 30 days of emails for you in a matter of minutes. So it's meant to really teach people how to leverage AI and make it as easy as possible, and just sort of hold your hand, if you will, through that process. So if you've got questions that come up, just come in there and answer, or come in there and ask, and either myself or somebody in the community will answer. So it's like, this isn't going anywhere. And like we talked about at the very beginning, like this is a skill that we as business owners have to have. And so like, let's go through this together. And that's really what the community is all about.
Yeah. And I think too, one thing that people don't always realize about communities like this is when you're spending time around other people who are doing it, it just makes it in your mind, it shifts your mindset into something that's very possible. Yeah. I mean, there might be things that I've heard of with AI that I'm like, oh, okay, heard of it once or twice, but again, that seems like a lot of work, or I don't know if that's going to work at my business. But then you see other people in different industries doing it, and it's like, well, wait a second, if they're doing it, why can't I do it? And it's very inspiring to be around people who are really on the forefront of this and taking action on it. And just that alone, learning the skills, having the tools that you've put together for us, and then also just having that community support is so powerful.
Yeah. Awesome.
So thank you.
Cool.
Let's wrap this up with something fun. Can we do a little round of rapid fire?
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite book? How about favorite book around AI?
I have no idea what Valerie's about to ask me. My favorite book. You know what? This is going to be a weird answer, but I would say that the book that comes to mind immediately when I get asked that question is like from my childhood. And it's called, this is so random. It's called From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler.
Wow.
And it's about two kids that get locked in the New York City Library, like the main library in the city, overnight. It's like their adventures. And
is it good for an 8-year-old? I might have to recommend it to my
I think so. Yeah.
All right. There we go.
So random.
All right. What I was expecting. I love this, though. I love this. We're learning about your personality here.
Yes.
Your most AI tool. The tool you use the most. Claude. Okay.
Hands down.
Good to know.
And now lately, at the time recording this, Notion.
Okay.
And using Notion because they just came out with AI agents in Notion. And just like the stuff that you can do with it is amazing. And if somebody doesn't want to Like you can't create a GPT in there, for example, at this point.
Yep.
But if somebody were like, I want access to all these models, like ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, but I don't want to pay the $20 a month for each one. Like I think Notion with AI is $24 a month.
Wow.
And you get all that. You get all the models.
That's good.
So anyway,
to know.
yeah, Claude, then
explore
Notion.
That.
Yep.
We just moved our whole business operations over to Notion, so I'm going to have to explore that more.
Yeah.
All right. Your favorite AI prompt?
My favorite AI prompt. I would say it's a good question. I have a Claude project that is sort of like next level for people who don't know projects. Like ChatGPT has projects. It's sort of like the next layer after like a GPT. But I have a Claude project that the instructions are essentially giving it the overview of me and my business, and I use it to create content. And I have it connected, if you will, to folders on my computer, and it will reference the information on my computer in those specific folders and update those files and folders based on past conversations. So in this example, it will remember past stuff.
Okay.
And it's sort of like my business content brain, if you will. Yeah, I use that all the time.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
AI myth you'd like to bust?
Ooh. AI myth that it's AI myth I want to bust. Such a great question. I think that AI is bad. I think there are certainly ways to use it, not like there are certainly ways to use it poorly and with malintent. Absolutely. But it's not all bad.
No.
And it's something that's not going away, and it can be used for a lot of good. Like one of the reasons why I do what I do is because it's like, for just as an example, there's so many AI newsletters out there, and they talk about like, medical advancements with AI and all this other stuff, which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's not what my audience is interested in, but that type of stuff, like obviously that's huge. And we're able to do things because of AI that we couldn't do even a year ago. From a business perspective, there's so much that we can be doing and using AI for good. So not all AI is bad.
I agree. Best business decision you've ever made?
Going in on AI.
Nice.
Because I burnt out in 2023, like I mentioned. I took 4 months off and I really wasn't sure what I was going to do. But I was listening to my gut, because in Q1 of 2023, when I started using ChatGPT more, I was like, this is going to change everything. And people thought that I was nuts for abandoning my successful online business and like just selling the podcast that was really popular and did really well, to what are you doing? Like leaving it all and teaching this AI stuff. That's absolutely the best decision.
Yeah. We got to do what we love, what lights us up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we are going to post, where to go to find your community in the show notes, along with where to find you. But what's the best place for people to find you? Where are you most active?
I would say YouTube.
YouTube.
So just Rick Mulready, just search there on YouTube. I post every Thursday morning, and just to get a sense of like topics and stuff like that. I share a lot of use cases, and I share tools, videos, and that sort of thing. And then for my email newsletter, I publish every Sunday morning. So it's called the AI Playbook, and again, a lot of use cases there. I do a workflow each week and that sort of thing. Yeah.
We will put all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time today, Rick.
Thanks, Valerie. Appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation from today. Any links we discussed will be in the show notes below. Also, we would be incredibly grateful if you would leave us a 5-star review. This helps us keep the podcast going so that we can continue to provide value for all of you. I hope we see you on the next one.